Hello Indie Warriors, good to be with you again. Old Gamer Joe here with another review as we look at Tempest 4000 on the Nintendo Switch. First off, I want to tip my hat to Atari over the past few years. They've really put out some awesome products. I've especially liked their recharged games like Centipede and Breakout. They were all really well done. So, when I went into Tempest 4000, I must admit, I thought this was going to be along those same lines, but after a little bit of research, I realized that this game did actually come out back in 2018. Honestly, I find it a little bit strange that now is the time they chose to release this game on Nintendo Switch when they've built up so much positive momentum with their fan base. But here it is, Tempest 4000 on the Switch, and unfortunately, this game's not really all that great in my opinion. Tempest debuted all the way back in 1981 in arcades. I was not even born yet when this game came out, and they classify it as a tube shooter. The arcade version of the game actually utilized a rotary knob, so you would twist this knob about in order to glide around the different tubes that you found yourself in, and that actually wasn't all that uncommon in older arcade games. If you've ever happened upon a Pong machine, you'll have a good idea of what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, when it comes to the Nintendo Switch version of Tempest 4000, you're not going to have any sort of knob to rely on. Instead, you're going to have to use either the directional buttons or the left stick to steer about these grids. Your goal in the game is simple: to spin around these tubes, line up your shots, take down the enemies, and survive for as long as possible while setting a high score and trying not to die. You'll need to hold down the A button to continuously fire at your foes, and you can also use the ZR button on occasion when you earn a jump in order to fly backwards and to kind of reset yourself a little bit and regain your composure. You also do have a bomb, though it is limited, that can be used with the B button, and as you might have guessed, it will clear out all the enemies that are currently on the screen and help you to progress forward that way. Tempest 4000 features 3 modes of play: Classic, Pure, and Survival, but honestly, outside of the amount of lives you're given, they really don't feel all that much different from one another, and that's because for me, it just didn't really matter. It was just all about trying to get as high a score as possible regardless of which mode I was playing. And that's totally cool, but I just didn't really get addicted to this game at all. It wasn't all that fun for me, to be completely transparent with you. I was rather bored with the gameplay. The enemies aren't that exciting. The game looks blah, so it didn't suck me into this universe. I just wasn't addicted. I don't know what it was. This one wasn't clicking in any real way for me whatsoever. And maybe that's my biggest problem with this game. We've seen now what these recharged games can be, how much fun they are, how addicting the gameplay is, how awesome they look, and Tempest 4000 just feels like a relic of the past now that hasn't been updated or treated in the same way. Honestly, it's just boring, and using the analog stick is a little bit frustrating because it's super sensitive. It's just not really how Tempest was originally designed, and it doesn't translate well to the Nintendo Switch. There's no touchscreen support or anything that I came across either, so you're forced to use the stick or the directional pad, but neither of them work that great. Taking your first death in Tempest 4000 also really throws your rhythm off because enemies tended to hang out for a while and stick around, and I couldn't get back into any sort of flow. They would just grab me again and kill me. Come on! The game does feature online leaderboards, and that's cool, but because the game wasn't fun to me, I didn't really care all that much about competing against other players. The best word I could use to describe Tempest 4000 is uninspired. The power-ups are not exciting. The level design is not very pretty to look at, either handheld or docked, though I must admit the game looks a little bit better handheld for some reason. Even the music, it's just kind of blah. Techno beats, a little bit of a rhythm to them, but they loop ad nauseum pretty quickly. So overall, Tempest 4000 feels like a game to me that should have stayed back in 2018. It has no real business releasing here in 2022, especially when Atari has so many cool games out right now that you can check out. I would by far recommend checking out the Recharge series if you're interested in what Atari's been up to in the last couple of years, because this one, it's honestly kind of a dud. Raise your shields, indie warriors. The echo chamber is always out there watching, but these brave warriors and legends are ready for anything. Thank you so much to Bill T, Christian Cruz, Kevalo, Chris Jackson, Adriana Amato, CJR, Julian Colbus, Jesse, CPM, Ray Lynn, Marky Mint, Dave Hart, Peekaboo, Lex Noyle, PSC, Carmine Red, King of the Hatch, and Blue Francis 14. At the glorious Indie Legends tier, we have Jen Rose, Larkison, Mitchell Hall, Eric, Peach, Skepticism, C. Coyle, and Nathan Moore. Thank you so much for everything that you do for independent developers, for the publishers, and for I Dream of Indie. Everybody else, please head down to the description box below. Let's stop this gaming echo chamber and bring a voice to the voiceless ones in gaming.